I never know if y'all can see that or not. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. This is actually my second video today, Tuesday, December 28th. This video is going to be talking about my top 5 favorite albums of 2021. As you know, this year is closing. Saturday is going to be January 1st, 2022. It's going to be new beginnings, and obviously, you know, I'm trying to level up. But anyway, before we get started with this video, obviously, welcome back to the Snake Eyes It's a Dollar channel. I'm Snake Eyes, obviously. Like, comment, subscribe if I kick y'all ass. And I'm just letting y'all know I do that. Also, my socials. Twitter, Snake Eyes, capital S, _dollar. My IG is going to be all lowercase, Snake Eyes, _W dollar, as in Dame Dollar. Alright? So, without further ado, this time, I believe like when we talked about the NFL, you know, it wasn't in a particular order. This time, it is a particular order. We're going to go from number 5 to my favorite album of the year. I'm not going to say the least because top 5 is speaking a lot, but number 5 to number 1. Alright? So the first thing we're going to get started with is number 5, Summer Walker, Still Over With. Very, very outstanding album. Pleasantly surprised me. This was after I listened to C.O.B. and I listened to J. Cole's album on the off season. And, you know, I had a rule back then that I just wouldn't listen to any artist I'm not familiar with or already a fan of. You know, I just decided to kind of break my rule because, like, you know what? I was bored. I didn't want to go to sleep at midnight. That album is the truth. Album of the year candidate for me. I really, really loved the way she implemented the stacks, the harmonies. It was beautiful sounding. The whole project was just sonically beautiful. You know, whether or not you agree with her point of view, whether or not you felt like that this issue that she's talking about is her fault, the thing that she brought upon herself, you have to appreciate the candidness. And you got to appreciate, you know, the effort and her point of view about her own life. And you have to respect how she feels about her own life because she's the only one that's living it, right? We can talk about it all we want. We can just read the rumors and the tabloids and just hear about it or just see it on social media. But only she knows who she really is, and only she knows, you know what's really going on in her life and the solution to it. Now, whether or not she wants to actively work towards a permanent solution for it or something that's, you know, can make things better in her life, that's up to her. That's not nothing for me to judge. But, you know, speaking from, you know, her ability to execute and, you know, express herself and express the things that she is going through in her life, I was very impressed. You know, and outside of the drama surrounding her personal life, it was a very, very enjoyable project, and it was a lot of fun. My favorite song off of that is Right There with Pharrell. You know, I wasn't really feeling when Pharrell was on a Pop Smoke project, but I gotta tell you, like, this collab with Summer Walker, it was a nice, fun, vibey song. The whole thing is a straight vibe. I really loved her tip at being versatile, you know, and then also, to a certain extent, it kind of does make me look at the album a little bit differently, just because she's not the only person that wrote her track. So I think that, you know, some of the ideas she was expressing. I also wanted to say that, like, you know, from a vocal perspective of challenging yourself vocally and equating your vocals with the emotions that you're expressing through your song, I didn't feel like it always matched. Like, I felt like that she could have challenged herself more vocally, and, you know, she can really make us hear the pain in her voice rather than just going for something that just sounds sonically good. Because sometimes pain is ugly. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be some kind of reflection in that. So maybe if you know, would have tried to kind of leap towards taking those risks and really just did the best you could vocally to really reflect those emotions that you're expressing in your song, I felt like that maybe I would give a higher score. If I'm not mistaken, on Twitter I gave it an 8.7 out of 10. The album does have a tremendous amount of replay value. I actually still listen to it. I kind of got in the shuffle mode, but I got Spotify Premium back, so I definitely will be tuning into those songs. There's somebody that said that her project had no replay value. I got to tell you something real quickly before we move on to the number 4. You know, people have to stop relying on, whenever you listen to music, on what other people are saying or people on social media or YouTube are saying. Listen to the album for yourself and then judge it. I feel like that a lot of people, because of the thing that she's went through in her personal life, dismissed the idea of actually giving the album a chance and just basically went with whatever opinions that they saw on the internet, right? Don't do that. Actually give the album a chance and judge the artist of whether, by listening to the work and determining whether or not they successfully executed, you know, whatever their purpose was with the project. All right, so great job for Summer Walker. And it's a shame, it's a pity that she kind of released it in November, which is, you know, way too late for the Grammys. But this definitely, without question, would have definitely won the Grammys, and I wouldn't have argued with it. Like, I would have went to vote for that myself as being, you know, our album of the year, R&B album of the year, like whatever it would have been nominated. Because I promise you, it would have been nominated. I would have definitely cast my vote for sure. The fourth we're going to look at is Alexis Sophia, Introspection. This is a brand new artist that I actually found this year. I'm trying to remember what song it was. I don't think it was Face to Face. That was my first introduction. It was either Home or Disappear. It was one of those. But yeah, I did listen to, obviously, her biggest song, and one that her fans know her the most, which is Face to Face. Not really feeling the dude that was on a remix, but I definitely listened to the original one all day. That shit is a classic. And so is this project. Now, technically speaking, this is not really an album. This is more like a mixtape, but it was well done. You know, a lot of people talk about, well, you know, I don't, especially this generation, because their attention spans are so short. They're like, well, I don't want to listen to a 17, 18 song project, or, you know, a certain amount of length. But I'm telling you right now, this project was, I actually don't mind a long project. I just hope that you're not just giving me the same bullshit throughout the project. Like, don't just give me, okay, you're giving me one vibe throughout the whole project. You talk about the same thing as far as content-wise throughout the same project, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, you're giving me the same flow, the same beat selection. If it just becomes repetitive to the point where, like, you know what, you should have shortened the album by like 3 or 4 songs. I have an issue with that. But if it's 17, 18 tracks, and you got your little 3, 4, 5 minutes, which people don't really like 3, 4, 5 minute songs a ton, especially the 4 and 5 minute ones specifically. 3 people are okay with. You know, as long as you're not becoming repetitive and you're executing the way you're supposed to and you're keeping the album enjoyable, that's what I like. Now, one thing that I criticize Summer Walker of as far as challenging herself vocally and matching her vocals with the emotions that she's expressing through her songs, Alexis Sophia did that. And not only did she do that, you know, we talked about the, you know, her singles are amazing, by the way. Obviously, my favorite song is Face to Face, but you notice, if you really pay attention to the project, she is going out of her way to show people that she can actually sing her ass off. And she's trying to, you know, go hit those notes, hit those high notes, maybe do a little falsetto here and there. But, like, I really, really enjoyed, you know, how she went out of her way to challenge herself vocally and went out of her way to make sure that the vocals was a reflection of, you know, of the emotions that she was expressing in her song and the life experiences that she was expressing from her song. I said earlier in the tweet when I first gave it a review, I think I gave it a 9 out of 10 if I'm not mistaken. If I didn't, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 now. You know, one thing that I criticized her for was that there wasn't enough about her life. You know, one thing that always makes a great artist great, it's not really just about the hits. It's how they tell their story and what their story is, and can the fans and the people that are, and the casual listener, can they connect with that? Even if they never experienced it, do they comprehend what the artist is talking about? And hey, maybe some of the emotions in an event that you haven't experienced, but the artists have, maybe you've experienced those similar type of emotions in another event in your life. So that relatability factor. In my first listen, I didn't catch it. I don't really remember which song it was. I don't think it was the singles before. It was something, it's like one of those songs she released a video for after she released Introspection. But it was more, like one of the verses was talking about her singing in the car. Right? That was one of the, you know, the things about it. And then another thing that I noticed about Alexis Sophia, just kind of listening to her, is that, you know, she loves hard and she's very loyal. And if you cross her, you know, there's consequences and repercussions for that. Like, she don't play around. You could definitely tell she got a little chip on her shoulder for sure. But anyway, great project. Beautifully sonically, like, she kind of stayed within the piano and 808s for the most part of the project, but it didn't feel like this. She was giving the same thing throughout the project. Very enjoyable. I definitely still replay it to this day. Alright, we're going to move on to number 3, Ride Wave Soulfly. One criticism that I expressed to this is a lot of people say it was too sad, too depressing. I feel like there's 2 sides of that, right? And it's kind of weird me starting off with a negative, but I'm going to start off on the positive just a minute because I am a legitimate Ride Wave fan. Okay? My introduction to him was Letter to Houston, and then since then I just been kind of on that train, right? So Soulfly is 100% a classic. Like going back to what I just said about the criticism, is like there gotta be a light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's good that you can talk about the pain, if that's your experience, and that is what you want to portray. It's good that you talk about those feelings of sadness, or feelings of despair, those feelings of worthlessness, and the way people treat you in your life, and the criticisms thereof. It's good that you can talk about those things, right? And you can make those, you can make your listeners cry, not because you're intentionally making them do so, but because of the relatability factor with that. It's good that you can do that. Like, it's good that they can feel the pain and the hurt. But like I said before, there gotta be a light at the end of the tunnel. There gotta be some moments in the album where I start to smile, I need to chuckle, I need to laugh. Making an album is just like acting, right? You can't just, yelling does not equate with emotion, right? And I'm not saying he was yelling at it like he was, but he's just giving us one vibe throughout the whole project. And frankly, when it comes to people and their attention spans, everyone wants something different. So, maybe I felt like, in my opinion, just looking at the, the negative perspective, they could have been like, well, I feel Rod Wave's pain. But then after maybe about the 5th, 6th song, you're like, is this something that's going to get me happy, right? It's kind of like, it takes you back to the third Hunger Games, to songs like Rags to Riches, Letter to Houston, right? Now again, I'm not asking him to fake, try to find something happy, or like find something that, is joyous, because if there's nothing in his life that makes him happy or that makes him joyous, then, you don't have to fake that. Like, he's been giving us the real, and I'm not telling him to do anything otherwise. But like I said before, I would have loved to, like, anything that would have, made Rod Wave happy. Talk about his children, maybe his wife, or maybe ex-wife. I don't know. I just listen to music, and I don't think they're on good, based on the music, I don't think they're on good terms anymore. Now granted, Rod Wave is a pretty private person. He doesn't really share too much about what's really going on in his personal life, but I can only assume, based on listening to his music, that him and his wife or ex-wife, whoever they may be not be on such good terms. But separated, otherwise, I have no idea. But I'm just going off of what I heard in the music. Going back to the acting thing, right? If someone is just yelling and it's a tense situation 100% of the time, and it's a dark movie, there got to be some moments where you can chuckle, even though things that are not funny. It's, directors always throw something in there to kind of lighten the mood and kind of ease the listeners, to keep them engaged. And it's really, really hard to engage, to stay engaged, if you're giving one vibe 100% of the time, and it's all, real, it's all cutthroat, it's all about pain, hurt, and feeling. I would like to talk about the great things about the project. Titles was on point thematically. The song titles paid very, very close attention. That's very important. The songs were well written, very introspective, very deep. The relatability factor was there. My favorite song out of that is What's Love. Truly a masterpiece, and for a very long time, until some of the albums I'm about to mention, this is my album of the year for, I think, at least roughly 8 to 9 months out of this year. This is my leading candidate for album of the year. So great job, Rod Wave, with Soulfly. 100% a classic, and by far his best project. But just moving forward, it's a great idea for Rod Wave to start thinking about, lighting up the mood and trying to change up the vibes to keep his listeners engaged. You don't have to fake, like, happy shit. If you're not into it, you're not into it. Like, don't fake it. But at the same time, just keep in mind that you're sharing your music with an audience besides just yourself. So the next thing we're talking about is Moray's Street Sermons. I gave this a 10 out of 10. This is the only perfect project of the year. I'm a huge fan of both Moray and Rod Wave, and I don't appreciate the little industry plant shit they talk about Moray. At the end of the day, this is my honest opinion. If an artist is ready, they're ready. So even if they happen to skip the line or what have you, and yes, it is unfair, but shit, life is unfair, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to get up out of bed and go to work, go through whatever obligation you have to go through, in order for you to succeed, in order for you to stay afloat and survive. You're going to do what you have to do regardless, and work hard, and then just overcome this shit, right? But again, I'm not here to address the industry plant shit. I'm a huge fan of Moray, just as much, and I kind of feel funny comparing to Rod Wave, but they both make similar type of music. They both make, the 808s to the piano, and they both talk about the similar things between the pain and shit like that. But what I love about Murray was versus what Rod Wave did not pick up on was that he has some moments of, he has some lighthearted moments. He has some moments where you can sit there, even if you crack a smile just a little bit, just something more upbeat. He did a really good job of being versatile. You know, he switched up the styles. So the writing was spectacular, exemplary. You had moments where you really felt this pain, like, damn. And you also had moments where you could just, you know, sit back and relax and be at ease, you know. And then also, he showed how vocally talented he was from a singer perspective. Yeah, I think he was very, very, you know, he challenged himself vocally and, you know, tried to, not necessarily hit those notes, but try to just do different shit with the flows and things of that nature. And honestly, this project has me, you know, very, very anxious to see what the debut album is going to be like. Again, I'm aware that Street Sermons is a mixtape, not an album, but then again, it's 2021. All projects are considered, except for really EPs, all projects are really considered, you know, all LPs are considered albums regardless. So great job from Murray. My favorite one is Big Decisions. I actually like Big Decisions better than I like Quicksand, but both are great songs. It just, like, I felt like that it represented Murray more. Quicksand sounds like it sounds like Murray, but it sounds like a radio record. Big Decisions just sounds like Murray. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can't really explain it any further than that. And then finally, last but not least, we got Eric Bellinger, New Light. I ran across this album completely accidentally. When I thought OBS was going to work on my computer and I was planning on doing a Dojo podcast, part of my assignment was to cover all of the albums related to hip hop and R&B. And then some of the shit that was going to be considered album of the year, record of the year, I was supposed to listen to that so I can give y'all an accurate picture rather than just saying, I don't listen to that, so it's ass. Even though I never listened to my life, I'm saying it's ass, I'm saying it's trash, I'm saying it's not good. Majority of the projects that I listened to, it was painful as fuck. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. But I heard Eric Bellinger's New Light. Man, that shit was fire. I think it was borderline no skips. I think maybe it was one song towards the end of the album I just was feeling like a little about it. But overall, that album was a masterpiece. Similar to what Summer Walker did, he did a great job of incorporating the stacks, incorporating the harmonics, and making it sound really sonically pleasing to the ears. I appreciated the versatility a lot. I appreciated the way he got his point across, the way he expressed himself. I appreciated the singing. The features were well done. They really blended together. It's not like, you know, he obviously did his thing, but, you know, the features fit in really, really nicely with him and with the project as well. So yeah, overall, very, very solid project. Highly impressed. And definitely made me listening to all the rest of the hip hop and R&B nominated projects a hell of a lot easier, and it's just a lot less stressful because I actually found something, even though by accident, that was a banger. I might even just go over his head and say this is my album of the year. You know what I'm saying? Just everything just fell in place. One small criticism, it's not even really criticism at all because it's all dependent on what the artist wants to express and it's their ideas. But it's kind of like, you know, the simping shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a girl ain't for you and a girl's a hoe and she up there doing whatever, like, that's not marrying material. But like, it was a few of his songs where he just kind of expressed, I don't know if he really feels that way or not, he just kind of expressed like, hey, we could work through that, you know what I mean? Like, we could work through that. Oh, if I ain't got my bag together, like, you know what I'm saying, I can't fuck with you, that kind of thing. Like, I could work with a high class woman, you know what I'm saying? I could make it work. And then I'm not saying all high-class women are like that. I'm not saying avoid all high-class women. It's just that the ones that really just out there and they telling you that they out there, they telling you they for the streets. They for the streets. I'm not marrying you. Like, we get into, you know, quick relationship, whatever, it is what it is. But marriage, ugh, nah, missing with that shit. A few honorable mentions. The first one I like to talk about, it didn't make the list because I'm not quite a fan, but I almost am. I don't know. Nardo Wick's Who Is Nardo Wick? Now, I didn't listen to it when it first dropped, but I listened to it probably, I think it was last week, maybe it may have been a Wednesday-ish. I don't know, like, if y'all go to my Twitter, the day that I commented on it, that's the day that I listened to the album. You know, I was just interested because he came out with Who Wants Smoke, and it was just kind of like, you know, nobody really expected him to, you know, have this huge song so early. So, you know, my curiosity led me to think, okay, you know, how is he going to sound with a full-length project? Because like, okay, you know, you got your little single. I didn't think it was good. Like I thought Who Want Smoke was trash, but then I just really just thinking about how creative it is, how different it is, and then just some of the little nice one-liner bars he had in that song, and then the stomping. Who the fuck is that? Anyway, that was cringy. I'm not gonna do that shit again. Anyway, but yeah, like the song kind of grew on me, and I'm not gonna say I have it on my playlist, but you know, I respect the creativity a hell of a lot more. I actually kind of like it. Pleasantly surprised. I guess he sold 30K because he just got his name out there, but he could have sold a hell of a lot more. In my honest opinion, if the project got the looks that it was supposed to get, he would have sold at least 65K. Now, granted, 65K is a flop for anybody, but for someone that's just kind of starting in this game, hasn't really developed much of a name of himself outside of just that one song, 65K for your first full-length project is pretty damn good if you ask me. But that's what it should have gotten. It should have gotten somewhere north of like 65K. 65K, just shy of, it's between 65 and 67K is what the project really should have sold. That's how good it was. I appreciated his versatility. You know, one thing about him and Pop Smoke, and even though Pop Smoke had a different lane, right? One thing those two understand very well, or what Pop Smoke understood and what Nardo Wick understands, is how to be an artist. You know, how to not just be a rapper, how to go about being a great artist. And this is what I was noticing throughout the project. You know, Nardo Wick is extremely creative. He's extremely intelligent and he's extremely smart. The interviews when he's talking about how he spent a year in the game, you know, not releasing any music, just really trying to learn as much as he could. You hear it in the project. You hear it in the work of art, right? He's going out of his way to be versatile, and he's, you know, not trying to, when he's being versatile, he's not really going out of his style. He's kind of, you know, saying to himself, okay, how is my style, how can I take my style and then put it into these different kinds of beats that are just, you know, much more used in this era, and then not necessarily sounding like Who Wants Smoke. It's just, you know, I'm not going to say traditional 808s because them beats were hard as fuck that he took, like great beat selection, by the way, you know what I'm saying? But just, you know, I'll put it like this. Those beats, when it came to melodies, wasn't really overpowering. It was beats where, like, it was the 808, but it made room. You know, it wasn't so many melodies where, you know, those beats were made for a rapper. You know, a rapper to just rap. It wasn't really too concerned about, you know, the melody with the drum. It was just the 808, maybe a little melody here and there to change it, but it was really so hard. It was really, you know, relying on those really hard kicks and 808s and shit like that, and a really hard bass. It was relying on that a lot, but he did a great job. He killed those. He actually is very, very talented with the bars. It's been a long time since I've actually heard, you know, an artist, especially a mainstream artist, because Nardo Wick is kind of a mainstream artist now. Let's just be honest. He don't have his name developed just yet, but, you know, he's building some buzz and depth with this project. People might or might not know. I don't know what's the buzz concerning that, but if you haven't heard who is Nardo Wick, you are missing out. It's a great project top to bottom. The creativity is there. I hear the intelligence. I hear the artistry. I hear the, you know, he just has a great understanding early of how to execute a project, how to execute songs, how to be versatile but stay within yourself. He has a great understanding of like how to like throw in those nice little one-liners to like make the listeners kind of laugh a little bit. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of on the fence about being a Nardo Wick fan, but I might just be because that project was rock solid. Alright, we got a couple other ones to talk about. We got to talk about Kehlani Blue Water Road. No, it's not coming out. Blue Water Road's not out. Yeah, we got to talk about Remember, she's going to push it back. Road. Yeah, so it's coming this winter. Wait, it didn't go. It didn't come out. Yeah, let's talk about Road Double XL. Stop talking about yourself, you narcissist. By the way, your project didn't come out yet. Come out yet either. Oh, we're working on that. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. My music is in the link in the description below. Don't forget to donate to the channel. Brother got big dreams, don't have a big bank account. Alright? See y'all. Peace.